Hey there, friends. This is Adam with Rock at SCA.Training and How to Coffee Pro. I wanted to introduce real quick to you the resources that are available and the next series of leadership topics. So first off, if you haven't been to rock.coffee, go ahead and go over there, check out. We have a lab with lots of tools. It'll also point you to SCA.Training and How to Coffee Pro if you're thinking about courses or supplies for those courses. So you can find grinders, equipment, Jean Lenoir, Linné products, and even this consulting package. If you're a green coffee seller or roaster, I'd love to help you out on that with feedback and analysis. So if you'd like to go over to How to Coffee Pro and get started on an SCA certified course, these are enrolling online, continuous enrolling on demand with your schedule, and then coaching and cohort calls. You can get certified in all 6 of these modules online. I would love to help you from that, from 0 to pro. And we do have intermediate and professional options available at SCA.Training. We specifically have some professional courses that are coming up. Just jump on over to the lab, however you navigate there, and you'll see those listed at the end of 2022 here as we're speaking. We also have Q graders coming up in Ethiopia Addis, lots of training kits, so great stuff at SCA.Training. But specifically today, we are going to be jumping into the blog. So you can go ahead and head on over to the blog here or scroll on down, and we will be talking about our leadership series. So I can't wait to share with you more and help you keep growing and making life better using coffee. All right, let's dive in. This lecture was presented at Coffee Fest in Seattle on the 30th of September 2022. So the title of our topic today is Developing and Maintaining a Coffee Training Program. So my name is Adam Carpenter. I am the founder of Rock Coffee, the lead AST at How to Coffee Pro and SCA.Training. I just want to thank you for attending, for showing up, reading the blog, attending the session, or watching online. I'm excited to work through this topic together with you today, and I intentionally use that word work on this topic because we're all learning and developing ways to be better trainers, building training programs, building methods to maintain them well. So thank you for being part of that journey with me. Now, this is one of 3 sessions that I did at Coffee Fest, so I'll also be sharing those. This one, developing and maintaining coffee training programs, how to get the best from your beans, from sample to profile to production roasting, and then cupping controversial coffees. So if you were able to attend any of those sessions or connect after the show, if you'd like to connect after watching this, I'd be really happy to dialogue. You can reach out or connect with email, and I could share a PDF from this presentation from the show, as well as any special discounts or coupon codes that are currently available at Rock SCA Training and for How to Coffee Pro. So just give me your contact information, reach out, and we'll take it from there. All right, first, introducing myself and really a caveat that I have approaching training like this. So anytime you give a speech, every speaker desires to be well received. We want to have this feeling like we've impressed the crowd or we've given them what they expected. So leading up to Coffee Fest, I definitely felt all of those emotions and others, and I just wanted to lay them down and admit that I'm approaching this with humility. And so, that's the best path for us all, but it also leaves me a little vulnerable. I realize that there will be some things that should be challenged or questioned, and so I am open to that dialogue, displaying the traits of a leader so that I can lead others well. So let's start with an overview of our time together, right? We need a few definitions, kind of a baseline of expectations. So bear with me. I'll try to move quickly, but there's a foundation of several books, and we won't have time to get through all of them. But by the end, hopefully we can jump in deeper or have conversations after this session. So first off, I hope that we can work on a training plan for you, or specifically just help you get started in developing that training program. If you're not there at the beginning and starting phase, maybe we just need to work on a specific objective that you're prepared to add into your training program, or maybe some accountability so that you can take your training to the next level. So we're either starting from zero or we're kind of trying to take the next step up. So what brought you here today? What brings you to this lecture? And if you have a notepad, if you're able to pause or make some comments, take some notes, that may be a good idea as you're working through this, not just watching or listening passively. I really enjoy the interaction and sharing, and so feel free to speak up, leave your comments. Maybe others are sensing something you are, or they're going through the same thing, or they have the same questions. And so with all of us in the room or on this platform, sometimes we just need that extra encouragement, right? So we're all facing problems or needs or pain, and we can encourage one another together in that way. So what kind of problems or needs did you come in that you want to solve and work on? Curious to know. I said already, my name's Adam. I love helping people grow. And specifically, I started Rock Coffee with the vision to make life better. I just have this vision that our work should be making life better. We do that by providing a community, building a community, and providing a playground. So that playground of resources where they can exercise, learn, grow, strengthen. And we do that best in community, not in isolation. I grew up on a small farm in Michigan. I drank Folgers instant coffee crystals with my dad and my grandpa before going out to work. And they worked hard. I wanted to be like them, right? I had these mentors and models. Well, later in college, in university, I had the chance to go to Costa Rica and visit a number of different aspects of the culture, but one was to stay at a coffee farm with a family. And for a few days, we picked coffee cherries by day. We played football or went to the discoteca at night. And those days really changed my life, kind of set it in a new direction, I guess, just giving me an appreciation for coffee as an agricultural, as a farmer's product. So later when my wife and I married, we went to China. We taught English. And after teaching English, I ended up opening Central China's first artisan roastery. And we named it Rock, Roasters of Central China. So we roasted wholesale coffees, sold a lot of espresso to cafes. We opened a couple cafes, one takeout window with my friend who had a Korean restaurant, and then one full coffee discovery bar. Later on, I moved into training full-time with the Specialty Coffee Association of Europe as an AST, and would travel around China training former customers and clients and new coffee establishments. Coffee was really just starting to take off when we were operating there. And so now I've returned to the States, and I continue to coach, especially roasteries and labs, a lot of startups, and focus on training and educating the next generation. So I want to give back, but I am still learning, and I'd be honored to work with you and your business or your team to help you grow as you are looking to grow. Okay, so let's dive into the topic. Developing and maintaining training programs. So depending on your demographic or your business position, wherever you are in the coffee world, you may be in a roastery, you may be in a cafe, or maybe you have some combination of both. You're probably in sales and business development. If you care about training, then you're a leader. Or at least you're aspiring to be a leader. Because not everyone just goes out and says, I want to be a leader, or maybe the word is loaded, but when you're training someone, you're helping them to grow. You should be coming alongside them. And so that is to lead. We can lead our peers. We can lead our friends. But how do we get started? Right? How do we start as leaders? How do we start as trainers? How do we complete our training plan or program once we begin it? Or does it complete? How do we ensure that we're helping our people to grow and so that they can train others in the future? We don't always want to be kind of the bottleneck or the responsible person for all of the training. We want to empower them so they can train and empower others. I'll be pulling ideas to explore these questions and others from a number of books from my college and master's study time. And I'll be sharing different anecdotes along the way. One of which, my college chaplain in undergraduate study, he would always admonish our student leadership team, if you fail to define the moment will define itself. And that's so true of our working days. That's so true of our time with employees or staff. You know, by not defining something, giving it definition and clarity, it will find definition and clarity. There's no vacuum or void where things remain undefined and unclear. They always generally regress to something lower. They slide down into that. So we're encouraging definitions and clarity within our training programs. That's one question we can ask. Do we have definitions and clarity? We'll get back to that. Okay, so I'll be referring to the Coffee Boys and John Richardson, Hugh Gilmartin. And so these guys wrote a couple of old texts. This one, Wake Up and Smell the Profit, is just really fun and easy. Lots of good marketing and application stuff your baristas and team can put in action immediately. So really recommend this. And then the more in-depth, setting up and managing your own coffee bar. This one is very much geared toward the cafe. But again, both of these are very focused on systems and profitability, financial management, the kind of stuff that really gives us a foundation for adding on and multiplying our business. You're going to see in this book something that they refer to as the great formula. So this great formula right here, it has 7 different items that we should be building into our coffee business. Our business should have passion, taste, positioning, people, marketing, systems, and money. Now, if we have all 7 of these, then we should be nearing, or we should have a hope for success. Now, when we pull out any of these 7 bricks in the foundation of our business, if we don't have passion, we're probably going to be suffering low sales. If we have problems with taste and quality, we're probably also going to be suffering low sales. If we have a positioning problem, that's probably going to lead to failure, ultimately. If we have a people problem, then we're probably often frustrated. If we have a marketing problem, then there's an unfulfilled potential. If we have a systems problem, we're probably dealing with a lot of stress. And if there's a money problem, that's because there's low profitability. And all of these can be interlinked. There's not just like one clear box where they don't spill over into other categories. But the nice thing to ask yourself is, do I feel any of these things, or does my business primarily have this one problem right now? And it helps us kind of diagnose and reverse check which aspect should I be working on. All right. So as we look to create our first playbook, we're going to be working on a playbook. Playbook is a concept that comes from Patrick Lencioni, The Advantage. And as we consider what is a playbook and how do we build our playbook, we will also then work to build our binders and our training materials. When I worked at Starbucks as a shift coordinator and manager, we had a stack of binders. Like on the countertop, it was 7 or 8 binders, and they were thick. And we would work through them, checklists and pages. We just need to start building those pages one by one and taking this model of the 7 items from the great formula, we can start to just work on one page at a time. So ask yourself, does my business have low sales, failure, frustration, low results, stress, profit? Or more positively, should I start working on one aspect of one area, passion, taste, positioning, people, marketing, systems, or money? All right. So next, as we identify an area that we want to work on, This is kind of us like setting a plan, setting an intention. So I've pulled in a model here we call the plan, do, check, act cycle. If you're on the blog or if you're seeing any of the show notes or PDF, then you see this plan, do, check, act cycle is just that. It's a cycle and it's continuous. And so we start with a plan, we know what we're going to target, and then we set about our way to do it. Once we do it, we're going to check the results, check if it worked, and then we're going to analyze in that checking so that we can take action to take the next step up. Now, this should be spiraling up or, getting deeper into the problem. It should be like a helical spiral and something that we're working on to continually grow, this continuous improvement. So we can apply that to our systems and building our menu and our taste and our customer service. We can use this model of plan, do, check, and act. All right. So these are just tools. I'm laying out a lot of tools, and then we can start applying some of the theories and models for ourselves. The next tool I'm going to toss out comes from Strategy Maps. So this is a big MBA text from the Harvard Business School Press, and it was developed by Robert Kaplan and Norton. David Norton. So Strategy Maps, don't kick me out when you see at the very top long-term shareholder value. But the reality is that as we build our business, the nuts and bolts, the bones or structure of the business really hasn't changed. Even though a lot of these models were popularized in the working out in the 80s and 90s and really being published in the 90s and aughts, it doesn't change the game, right? And so we have these kind of stiff looking models, how we work through, and a lot of these models are built for larger corporations with a lot of processes and teams and layers. But the reality is that each of these models has kind of this learning and growth perspective, an internal perspective, a customer perspective, and a financial perspective. And so we all go through this learning and growth kind of organizational and then internal perspective with processes and systems, and then the customer perspective with marketing and sales and service, and then the financial perspective, which really at the end of the day determines whether or not we stay alive. So this is like the bones of our business, and then we're going to add on some of the muscle and the warmth and the heart and culture of our business. But even down in the learning and growth perspectives, that's that bottom one, we do see that, it's not all black and white and it's not all dry leadership kind of theory. We have human capital. We have organizational capital with culture and leadership and alignment and teamwork. And so all of these things really do matter. We just didn't emphasize them in the past as much as we might today. So let's not throw out the head in place of only the heart. Let's bring the head and the heart together here. So learning and growth perspective, what is that? Well, you've heard it said that our people are our greatest asset. When you hear the word capital, then you can think of assets. What is valuable? And our people, our teamwork, our alignment, our culture, they're all part of this. And that's why we're here today. We want to build training programs that serve them and connect with them. So what words would you use to describe your team? If you don't have a team, you could write down 2 or 3 keywords that are aspirational, something that you aspire to. I aspire to have my team this way. But if you have a team right now, be really honest. My team, they do the minimal amount of effort required. Or my team are highly competent but independent. Maybe my team are extremely caring, but they are not good with money. Whatever it is. Are they caring? Are they cool? Are they skilled? Are they knowledgeable? Are they strict? Are they warm? what are the first words that come to mind? This is where culture really gets its definition. When you walk into the door of a place, a home, a business, a country, you have this feeling like, oh man, this place is what? Or wow, these people are really something. Fill in that blank. What do people have? And you could ask your customers, you could ask your clients, what do they feel when they walk in? Because your feeling or your team's feeling may be different even than the public feeling. They may feel something very different than you are even intending to convey to the public. So the importance of culture cannot be overstated. When we are hiring, we should consider maybe we want to hire people because their culture is so good. They're good cultured, good mannered. They're going to fit kind of into the team. And not just that we're curating this like highly homogenized culture. We're also not trying to just throw in all these random, culture stew, because it's not that there's a good culture and a bad culture. There's just good culture fit and poor culture fit, right? So some people might be highly skilled, really great in a different business, in a different culture. And you might have some people that are also highly skilled and greatly fit into your culture. Culture is caught, it's imbued like an atmosphere. It can't be forced on someone. It's very hard to change the direction of someone's heart, to change the foresight and the worldview that they have. And so if we think, I'll hire this person because their credentials or their resume or their skills or something is what I desire, and then I'll just try to change them to fit better with the mold of the team, it's probably not going to work. Or it's going to be hard unless they're very transparent and they're saying, I'm willing to change, I want to change. You have a good culture that I want to move into. Because culture is caught. And what can happen is we can hire into our teams and we can end up kind of shifting the culture. And even as culture outside or in the world is changing, our culture internally can shift. And sometimes it shifts in good ways, which are helpful for our growth. Sometimes it shifts off of mission and off of target and actually becomes hard for us to lead or hard for us to continue. And so that's an alignment issue. We talk about alignment in our cars. When you get new tires or after time, you can just let go of the steering wheel and your car will just kind of veer off to the left or veer off to the right, and you're running into traffic or you're running off the road. That's alignment. And so our culture can be exactly like that. Can we take the hands off of the wheel for a little while and the culture of our company just keeps on this straight path? We just keep knocking down goals and we keep on target. Culture is caught, it's imbued in the atmosphere. And so this leads us into Patrick Lencioni and the advantage. I love his quote in here. He says, culture eats strategy for lunch. And so we've already covered strategy, right? And so culture is really what you got to lay on top of that, because he's not saying strategy is not important. He's saying that culture is like this amplifier, this effect that we lay on top of our strategy. And it can take small companies or low-performing companies. It can take them into new levels. It can take high-performing companies and it can derail them. We've seen that in the world. I don't need to mention or get political, but culture can really steer a company and a group. So we want it to keep us safe, right? What is your team playing for? Do you have an actionable mission? Yes or no? What is it? Is there a captivating vision that people can really see or that really inspires people? What are the authentic values that you and your team feel and you believe in collectively? Do you really have these values? Are they not just posted, but are they lived and are they talked about? And is this something that just easily can be conveyed through your service, through your products, through your atmosphere that you're creating. So I like to think of mission as, you can think of it in like military or medical or whatever sense. We have a mission. We need to accomplish this mission. When your feet hit the ground tomorrow morning at daybreak, this is what you are going to do. When you're strapping on your boots and putting on your shoes, you know exactly what you need to do, and you have the objectives. So mission is very actionable. The vision is like way out there. Because we can see this is our goal, this is what we're working toward, we are going to consistently achieve this mission, and it's going to get us each step closer towards that vision. Okay, so one day you might see 100,000 people's lives changed in this way, or you might see $1 million raised for this specific need. And so your mission is going to be every day doing this, every week accomplishing this to get to that vision. And the values that we hold are what tie us together, are what keep us going through the hard times, and they keep us moving forward in that mission. And so our one-page document that we used to have, we called it our Playbook, which is inspired from The Advantage, or rather Lencioni's teachings, was called the Mission Vision Value. It was just the MVV. That was how I saved the PDF and images on all of our documents that we would share. It was that Mission Vision Value. So, does everyone on the team feel like they have a part to play? Do they own the values? First off, then they're going to feel like they might be able to jump into the mission. They don't feel like they're being left behind as the mission's moving forward, but their values are over here and different. You may have those team members who feel like they're not a part of this. They're not a part of the training, or they don't want to be a part of the training. That could be our first problem that we address before we ask, how can I train them, or what should I be training in my program? Are the people united as a team with the same values? And if not, it may be a great time to just reorganize your team and consider whose was it? Do you get the right people on the bus? Good to great. Jim Collins. Are the right people on the bus? Well, give them a chance to get off the bus if they want, or just to find a new seat on the bus where they can share the values, where they are on the right mission. All right, I'm getting off track on my notes here, but I like this topic, as you can see. Leadership and alignment. Let's get back on track here. Leadership is the who. It's all about people. So ultimately, someone is going to ensure that the job gets done, or that all of the jobs get done, right? So we had those 7 frameworks, for example, when you're looking at your people and your systems and your money and your taste and your positioning. Those might be just 7 categories that you could say, ultimately, who is responsible to make sure that this is in good shape, this is in place, this is working, this is in alignment. Can you name that person? Does your name keep showing up on all of these, or are other people identified? If that person is identified, are they really keeping the passion alive, or do you have to check back up? Are they really ensuring that the taste is on point, or do problems keep happening, or other team members jump in and change things? Position, people, marketing, systems, money. You can go through that checklist. And if you really do have a person that is getting it done, I know most of us, even those who are drivers or high achievers, we don't like to micromanage, and we don't want to micromanage. But a lot of us just have trouble trusting. And the reason we have trouble trusting is probably because we haven't built a trustworthy network or system around them. We shouldn't just say, I can't trust that person to make sure that, our marketing is good, so I have to oversee it. Well, let's take a step back and say, why can't I trust? Because that person is bad? No, they're under my charge. I'm the leader. This is a popular concept recently that was described as extreme ownership by Jocko Willink. I did the audiobook on Audible, so I don't have a hard copy to hold in front of you. But extreme ownership is this fantastic concept which came from the Navy SEALs, which came from his military training, where ultimately, if you are in a position of authority, everything under you is your responsibility. Everyone under you is your responsibility. If they fail, it's because you failed. If they succeed, it's because you built the system or the structure for them to succeed. You don't take all of their success, but you do get to take all of their failure. So back to the marketing example, if they are not consistently doing the marketing, or if it's not to standard, that's because you haven't built a system by which they can daily or on system post and market the way they ought. If it's not to standard, then the standard hasn't been defined clear enough. The standard isn't easily accessible to them. Maybe it's clear in your head, but it's obviously not clear to them. Or they are not held accountable. When they fail, it doesn't matter. And so they can fail when they have a hard day or a busy day. All of these aspects, accountability, systems, clarity, definition, examples, training, all of that fall back on us, the leader. So this should be driving us to our goal even closer and motivating us to say, all right, I want to build training systems. I want to develop and maintain training systems that work. So we need to be able to answer truthfully, and we need to start practicing. You know what? It's my fault. We need to come to that person in marketing, or come to that person who's overseeing the drink quality, and tell them, you know what? This does not meet standard. It's my fault. Let's work on how we can fix this, and what do you need so that this doesn't happen again? So that these drinks don't go out this way, so that this coffee doesn't get roasted this way again, so that this marketing hole and window in our communication strategy doesn't happen again. It's my fault. Tell me, how are we going to avoid this in the future? Okay, so it's very different when I approach someone and say, you know what? The marketing for the last month has been totally off, and sales have been off, and it's my fault. Now, how can I work with you to make sure, what can we make sure that we are learning and building? What tools do you need from me? What time do you need from me so that this does not happen next month? I'm preaching to the choir here. I'm preaching to myself. So ultimately, these systems all tie back to alignment. Is that person aligned? Because if they're aligned, they're going to receive your humility to say, we're off target. We didn't win. It's my fault. How can we prevent this from happening again? How can we improve? Plan, do, check, act. All right. So here's a little tool as well to tuck in and to try using. Ask your team member, ask your employee or whoever reports to you, can you tell back what you just heard? Can you tell me back what I just said? Try that. And not in a demeaning way. Not repeat back what I just said. You know, that can be very demeaning. But instead, can you tell me back what you just heard? I got to make sure that this is perfectly clear, because we've got to get this target next month. And I need to do a better job communicating it and supporting it. Can you tell me back what you just heard? So when I was a boy, people would tell me things, and then I thought it was creative or it was self-ownership or something to take it and just kind of put it into my own words. I would hear music and I would kind of interpret in my own words and have different lyrics to songs. I would hear a history lesson and I would just kind of get the main macro idea instead of focusing on the details. And I just grew up with this idea that I'm a big picture person, or somehow that I wasn't good with details. And it was bad. It was bad programming. It was a bad habit, because what it did was it prevented me from having clarity. And clarity leads to alignment. And alignment leads to success. And so a lot of our team members will have that same kind of bad big picture mentality thinking, or I'm not good with details thinking. And really, those are just bad habits that we've been excused to hold on to from childhood or from when we were young, from when we were immature. And so clarity is part of maturity, and alignment is part of health and growth. And that's what we're about here, health and growth. So can you tell me back what you just heard? And even you can practice with yourself. Like as you hear someone at the grocery store or somewhere, can you repeat back exactly what they said to you in the same order with using the same language? My kids at school do that. They call it using the author's language. So specifically the words that the authors said, not just the way that I heard it and interpreted it. This is also really helpful if you ever want to learn Chinese. You just tell back exactly what you're hearing and they'll think you're brilliant. But it's really the only way to learn Chinese and probably a lot of languages. But that's why we have this stereotype that Chinese are really great at copying and memorizing everything. It's because that's how you learn their language. You just have to repeat exactly what you hear and the tonal changes. All right, back on track. Plan, do, check, act. We're getting closer. So now let's go ahead and create some tools, right? If you need to beg, borrow, or steal, if you take from me, just go ahead and give credit. If you find something useful here or from someone else, plug it in and just start building out page by page, 3x5 index card by card by card, and start having your team do these things. If you just add in one page each week, after 52 weeks, after 1 year, you've got a binder with 52 chapters, 52 pages of solid training. Just try to get one great page a week. You might think that you don't have time. Well, however long you've been in business, you've already been doing it this long without that binder and without 52 solid pieces of training. At Rock, we borrowed something from Howard Schultz and from Starbucks. My days at Starbucks taught me the latte customer steps to customer service and service recovery. So latte is a great acronym that stands for listen completely to the customer, acknowledge the problem, take action to resolve the problem, thank the customer for bringing the situation to your attention, and encourage the customer to return. So listen, acknowledge, take action, thank, encourage. Latte. Now this was competency 28 in a 30 competency training workbook that we put together. Now inside these competencies, we had things like dress and appearance. We had things like green coffee and origins and roast levels and extraction and ristretto, normale, lungo. We had everything in there. And customer service, water, hygiene. So these 30 elements were like 30 pages. It was a little more than 30 pages, but 30 little mini chapters, which we could work out daily or we could work on together. And these 30 pages really filtered out of our one-page playbook, the mission, vision, value, which if you got this one page right, you could succeed with us. And you would have the motivation or alignment to do these 30 items. And that's really how it worked, right? So we had the vision and the mission all in the one page and then these 30 items. What I love about the latte customer service, steps to customer service recovery, is the humility that it embodies. And whatever you want to say about Starbucks or Howard Schultz, I think that we can see with the growth of his company that he and others have provided the leadership necessary to grow something. Now, you have a different vision than they had, and you will grow something to make an impact on the world in great and beautiful ways. But this latte, ask yourself, how many places have I been to where I've seen the staff listen completely to the customer? We don't interrupt the customer. We don't get them back on track when they start talking, like this, because they're talking about how we made the mocha wrong, right? We have our own idea of a mocha or our own coffee ratios or our own flavor and roast profile that's different than theirs. We listen completely. And then we acknowledge the problem. So we let them veer off over here into their problem and we say, you know what? You're right. that mocha didn't taste amazing. And we want to give you an amazing mocha. I'm sorry. I want to take action to make you that mocha. Would you like another mocha? And can I make these improvements? I'd like to add in some extra pumps of hazelnut, because actually, me personally, I love it when I pump hazelnut into the mocha and it has this nutty chocolate sweet aspect to it. Can I do that for you? Because maybe you have a specialty mocha that's not very sweet. It's like bitter cocoa, and they don't jive on that, especially with plant-based milk and your single origin light roasted coffee that's kind of acidic. All of these things can go into the fact that they didn't get a mocha that they wanted. So don't try to correct them. Acknowledge the problem. Take action to resolve the problem. And then I want you to tell them, thank you. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. Because, and you know what? The next time you come in, I want to encourage you to return. The next time you come in, make sure you tell them, you know what? We found I like a mocha with a couple pumps of hazelnut in it, or extra whip, or whatever it is. Ask them, thank them for bringing that to your attention. And if we can do this with our customers, then we can do this with our team. It's the same thing. You know, you missed your marketing numbers. You missed your sales numbers. Can you tell me what last month was like? Can you tell me what you did? Thank you. Thank you for bringing that. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, I realized that there were some problems. I didn't schedule enough time for you. You didn't have enough time to get this done. Can we take some action to resolve this problem together? What can I supply for you? What can I add or remove from you so that this is possible? And then how can I encourage you so that this month we hit our targets? You know, that latte embodies humility and connectedness, alignment that we don't just want to give to our customers, we want to have internally as our team. So as I said before, if your team and culture and alignment aren't tight, how are they supposed to be doing this for the customers? Are they faking it? Or do you have a barista who's willing to do this to the customers, but internally there's strife and they don't like each other, or there's a problem? Those are the areas we want to be focused on and zero in on as leaders. Okay, so all of these pages, all of these little tools, these are just bricks. And as we lay the bricks, we're going to be building a foundation. And after we do this repeatedly and we plan, do, check, act, and we put it down on paper, we put it in a binder, we have all of our staff, it's available to them. Don't let it get lost in Google Drives. Just keep sharing it, keep bringing it up at the weekly staff meetings or the weekly coffee gatherings, and it will become your training program. Another thing that you can easily beg, borrow, or steal is the employee review. Okay, so all of us need a checkup. We just need someone to know, on Friday I'm going to be asked about this. Every 15th and 30th of the month, we're going to sit down and have coffee and talk for 20 minutes about sales or promotions or numbers or waste or whatever it is. And the employee review you might find that the online version that you download or you see on the internet somewhere, it has 7 good questions and you don't like the others. And so you may ask your employee, can you just add like 3 things that you want me to ask you about next week? When you ask them, what would you like me to check in on next week? It changes the way their mind thinks. It changes the way, because rather than saying, I'm going to police you and be watching you, trying to catch you, instead, the employee is thinking, well, I don't want to be doing these things. I want to make sure that I prioritize these things. And my boss, my supervisor, my manager is going to meet with me next Monday, and I want to make sure that I've done these things for them. Or they've got my back, and they're going to be checking in on Monday to see if I've done the things that I want to get done. So if you're not doing your employee review and checkup, it can be so easy, and it really just takes that faithfulness and consistency, and they start to learn, you know what, my manager is there for me, or my supervisor cares because we meet every Monday, or we meet twice a month with this certain consistency, and we just check off some forms. So make it something where they have an expectation and you show up and it's fulfilled. Don't make it overly big. Don't make it overly complicated. But also don't just water it down and say, hey, let's have coffee once a month, and then you're just having coffee. There's no sense of leadership there. So add the employee review in. A job done is better than one that never began, right? We can have these intentions like, I want to do the employee review, but not until I have a perfect form. I want to do this training, but not until I finish a big training book. Just get started. 1 page, half a page, just a note card, 5 little boxes that you're going to check on Monday. Whatever it is, just get it started, and then you can add, and then you can polish it later on. The tool task list, the checklist, this is something that you can build, and then your employee as they're doing it, or your team member as they're doing it, you can just tell them, hey, why don't you add on anything that you see I missed, anything that you feel needs more time or attention when you're cleaning, when you're opening the bar, when you're closing the bar. And then we're going to check that next Thursday at our check-in. And so bring me back your checklist. Did you add anything? Why was Tuesday night really hard closing? What kind of things might we want to add onto this list? Is there anything that's just super easy or redundant? Have them be involved in the process of building and modifying and keeping these forms relevant. So your employees aren't just there to do the work and check the boxes. They can actually be there guiding the work and guiding what boxes should be checked. But we don't know if we don't ask them, or we don't ask them to be attentive and make a note, and we don't follow up and ask them for their feedback or what kind of things they're observing. So how to develop and maintain a training program? It may be just utilizing the existing work your team does and just have them start documenting some of these things. You might just sit down for 30 minutes or 10 minutes here and there throughout the day and just observe them. What are they doing? What's happening as traffic's coming in and out of the door? What kind of things are daily presenting them with problems? Ask them again then too, what kind of tools or things do you need? Have you ever been to other cafes or other roasters and you see they have this tool, or they have this cleaning supply or solution, or they have this procedure that you'd like to incorporate? Take extreme ownership. Come up to them and you can say, you know what? For the last 10 months, we really haven't been focused much on this certain area of our systems and processes. I'd like to do a better job of that. I need your help. Would you please help me? And I need to follow up with you and with this team, and we're going to do that together. Okay, so next section here. If you need to take a break, go ahead and take a break. Go ahead and get your coffee refill. We're going to look at the 1 page, getting to work, and then wrapping up here. All right, 1 page to rule them all. Yes, I'm a big Tolkien fan. So if your team gets the 1 page right, if they get the playbook right, again, what's a playbook and how to build one, you can look up Patrick Lencioni on YouTube as well. There's some great resources. If you want to be able to tell your team, like, if we do this one thing, we're going to be okay. If we get this one thing right, we're going to be okay. Well, be okay doesn't mean we stop trying or we stop growing. It means that we're in the right place. If we get all the right people here together and we're all aligned, then I know we're going to go far. And it's going to be okay that there's hard work, or there's sacrifice, or there's time that we all work through these projects, because we're all the right people in the right place together, aligned. So again, this is just my 1 page, Rock Coffee Company. I put it out there publicly, right? And one of our key words that we went for was wow. And we just wanted, wow is this good feeling. It's this feeling like someone cares, someone's gone above board, someone's serving well, this is tasty. So our coffee crew and our work, coffee, and lifestyle, we wanted to inspire a wow. our first coffee discovery bar made you say, wow, when you walked in. So use language to define, or create some fun games around it. You might say, we do not do this. And it might be like a strong stand you're taking for something, but don't leave it empty. Say, because we do this, we fill in the gap in this way. We had dialectics in place. There were like these competing values. My founder and I, we were both philosophy majors, so we liked that concept of dialectics. And then the discovery bar, community, and playground. So just values that we could often, they would come up in our labels, they would come up in our language, they would come up in our teachings together. Finally, let's get to work. Plan, do, check, act. So what questions might you have? How do I get started? How do I, can you start with one topic? Can you start with one page? Can you start with one weekly meeting with that employee or those employees or team members? What then will you do? How will you check in? And then how can you act and spiral up to the next level? As we consistently do this, we will continue to make improvement over the long haul. I opened up a lot of things, wanted to open up my heart, also wanted to open up this topic. There will be more coming, of course, how to build and create training programs or materials. Thanks for sticking around. If you have any questions, send them to me. You can download the PDF presentation at the blog. You can also join my email list if you are interested in coupons off courses, or if you'd like to purchase some training supplies for your team. This wasn't the sale all throughout it, but if you need a training program, there may be training programs out there. You could buy the business training program, the culture training program. You could purchase my SCA courses and let your team walk through those. Maybe one person wants certified, but you can let the whole team of 6 baristas all watch the one video. One person takes the test and gets certified. All 6 do all the exercises. They watch all the videos. They can do that. You can do that with your online access. So How to Coffee Pro, you can study Introduction to Coffee. That's a fantastic one for anyone in the coffee space. Green, roasting, sensory brewing, and barista. I would love to help coach your team or work with them if you have that desire. Reach out to me and leave your comments. Hope to hear from you as well, how you're growing, any extra materials that you're looking into, resources that you're looking out for, and look forward to you making your life better for you and your team as you take leadership and lead in developing and maintaining your training programs. All right, there we go, and see you in the next lecture.